At dinner, I dropped my fork and bent down to grab it. That's when I saw my brother's hand between my girlfriend's legs. He smirked at me. Your girl's got nice legs. I want her right in front of me. He walked her into a bedroom and shut the door. The next morning, he looked me dead in the eye like he was daring me to say something. What can I say, Ethan? Girls just can't help themselves around me. I smiled back and kissed the woman he'd been obsessed with for 5 years. My brother Lucas just dumped my ex. We only went out for a month. People break up all the time, he said like it was no big deal. But you sent me those bedroom pics and said you were in love. You even wanted my blessing, I said. Sipping my coffee, I glanced outside at Sophia, still waiting in the heat, and shook my head. Sophia was the hottest girl in our department. Gorgeous, smart, rich family. And she had that whole untouchable ice queen thing going on. Every guy on campus wanted her, including me. She was technically my ex, but not really. I was just her fake boyfriend to keep other guys away. The day after we went public, Lucas swooped in and stole her. At night, he sent me a bunch of explicit photos. I'm only interested because you were interested, Lucas had said. But man, your taste sucks. Your first girlfriend, total garbage. I knew Lucas didn't actually care about Sophia. He just wanted to take everything I had, even if he tossed it aside later. He couldn't stand me having anything. Ever since we were kids, he resented me for stealing our parents' attention. So anything I wanted, he'd find a way to take it. Toys when we were little, clothes, and now my girlfriends. My taste sucked before, but this time I'm dating quality. I said, looking all starry-eyed. Lucas perked up. Really? Hard to believe. When do I get to meet her? She's coming here soon. Right on cue, Isabella walked into the cafe. I smiled. There she is. That's my girlfriend. White blouse, slim figure, silver necklace. She had this laid-back, effortless vibe. Compared to Sophia, she seemed wild, untamed. I was obsessed with girls like her. So was Lucas. He loved making women fall for him, especially my girlfriends. I watched his eyes light up as he checked her out. That familiar smirk on his face. I knew that look. He'd locked on his target. The more free-spirited a girl was, the more guys wanted to control her. When Lucas saw that Isabella only had eyes for me, he got even more excited. I frowned. I brought Isabella to meet Lucas because I trusted her. I'd known her 2 years. I never fell for a pretty face. She was loyal. But seeing Lucas's flirty looks, I felt a twinge of doubt. Lucas knew exactly how to play women. Take Sophia, so cold at school, but she turned into a complete mess around him. I took Isabella's hand, and she smiled at me warmly. I believed in her. When we left, Lucas couldn't take his eyes off Isabella. I watched her face. She seemed totally unaware of him, focused completely on me. After the cafe, I went with Isabella to the courts. He was meeting friends to play badminton. While I sat on the sidelines holding her jacket, Isabella had this raw energy about her, nothing like Sophia. She was bold, wild, like summer sunshine, bringing warmth to everyone around her. Getting with Isabella was actually part of my plan. First day of college, I noticed her. She saw some creep groping a girl in the crowded hallway. Beat the hell out of him right there. I remember she wore a black tee with that silver necklace, jacket slung over her shoulder, walking past me like she didn't care about anything. My first thought, she was rebellious, had that bad girl vibe. And I was hooked. Lucas taught me that girls like her are harder to chase. You can't push too hard. You need the right approach. Freshman year, I played it cool, just made myself familiar. The sophomore year, I started texting her, asking her to hang out. I studied everything she liked. We talked more and more, eventually doing the good morning, good night texts. The flirting got intense. We were one step away from dating. Agreeing to be Sophia's fake boyfriend was the final push. That night, when Isabella called me crying, asking why I was with another girl, I knew my strategy worked. When Lucas stole Sophia, it was the perfect opening for Isabella and me. She was an amazing girlfriend. In a month we've been together, she gave it her all. Even my roommate said, they never imagined a girl like Isabella could be so devoted. I believe she had real feelings for me, but I didn't know if she could resist a guy like Lucas. The crowd cheered. Isabella scored another point. She walked over to me, the sunlight making her smile glow. Bored? I'll buy you something good later, he grinned. I smiled back. Sounds perfect. We held hands, walking along the courts. The warm light fell on us, her hand gentle in mine. I wish this moment could last forever. Just like I expected, Lucas made his move. He'd been showing up on campus way more than usual. Isabella came to my dorm every day. We'd get breakfast together, go to class, hang out. But lately, when I'd head downstairs, I'd see Lucas waiting with her. He'd be all smiles. And while Isabella stayed neutral, she'd respond to him occasionally. Lucas acted like he didn't know he was a third wheel, forcing his way into our world. He invited me to dinner and specifically asked me to bring Isabella. I knew what he was doing, but I still brought her. When we arrived, Lucas was already there. He'd clearly dressed up. Was he being that obvious? I brought Isabella because I had my own reasons. I want to see if she could resist someone like Lucas. Isabella, I heard you're great at badminton. Think you could teach me? Lucas asked in that smooth voice of his. If you really want to learn, hire a coach, Isabella said flatly. Lucas clearly didn't like her attitude, but seemed to turn him on even more. Hiring a coach is such a pain. You're my brother's girlfriend. Why can't I just ask you? I stirred my soup, listening to Isabella's cold response. You know I'm your brother's girlfriend. It's not appropriate. Seeing Lucas's face pale, I almost laughed. Lucas rarely got rejected, except for that one time 5 years ago. This was probably only the second time. I must have been smiling too hard because Lucas shot me an annoyed look. My hand slipped. Oops, dropped my fork. I bent down to grab it. They didn't have time to react. In that split second, I saw Lucas's foot. He hadn't pulled it back in time. Yeah, while I wasn't looking, he'd stretched his foot toward Isabella, right between her legs. Isabella hadn't stopped him. Was it because she didn't have time, or because she didn't want to? My head was spinning. We finished the meal in silence. Isabella stepped out to take a call while I waited. By the door, Lucas came out after paying and looked at me. Your girlfriend's got pretty nice legs. I approve. I froze, trying to process what he meant. When he started smiling, my heart fell hollow, like all the blood in my body had stopped moving. A hand grabbed mine from behind. She noticed my dazed look right away. What's wrong? You've been out of it all dinner. I opened my mouth to ask why she didn't push Lucas away. But what came out was, Do you find guys like my brother more attractive? Or me, Ethan? She squeezed my hand tight, her eyes locked on mine. To me, you're one of a kind. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. Her words hit me right in the chest. I was moved. Yeah, moved, not in love with her. Isabella walked me to my dorm and hugged me for a long time. She didn't leave until I went upstairs, but I didn't go to my room. After she left, I followed her. She walked down the main road for a bit, then stopped. At the end of the road stood a man, Lucas. I had to admit he was seriously good looking, the kind of handsome that stuck with you. Under the dim street lights, their shadows came together. They stood there talking about something I couldn't hear. My girlfriend was meeting my brother behind my back. I didn't know what would happen next, and I didn't care because my goal was already done. Every step had gone exactly as planned. Isabella falling for me, Lucas making his move. And now Isabella was probably hooked, thinking of that person. I stayed across the street, watching Lucas lean against the lamppost with that same smug expression he'd worn my entire life. Isabella stood in front of him with her arms folded. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I didn't need to. Lucas had made his move, and Isabella had followed him. I turned around and walked back toward campus. For once, I wasn't angry. I was excited, because Lucas had no idea what he'd just stepped into. The next morning, I walked into the cafeteria and found Lucas sitting alone. He looked up and smiled. Sleep well. Perfectly. He laughed. You seem awfully cheerful. I had a good night. His smile widened. Did you? I sat across from him and stirred my coffee. Yeah. Isabella stayed on the phone with me for hours. His expression flickered. Only for a second. But I caught it. Really. She told me something interesting. What? I leaned back. She said you're charming. Lucas relaxed. She's not wrong. But she also said you're exactly the kind of man she hates. His smile disappeared. I watched him carefully. What? Manipulative. Self-obsessed. Always convinced every woman secretly wants you. Lucas laughed, but it sounded forced. She's joking. Maybe. I stood up. But you should probably ask her yourself. I left him there. By noon, Lucas was waiting outside my classroom. Where is she? I pretended not to understand. Who? Don't play stupid. Isabella. I smiled. Why? Miss her already? His jaw tightened. She's my brother's girlfriend. Exactly. I walked past him. He grabbed my shoulder. Listen to me, Ethan. Whatever game you're playing, stop. I looked at his hand. Then at him. You should be more worried about your own games. His fingers tightened. You think you know me? I know you better than anyone. That wiped the smile off his face. I leaned closer. You don't want Isabella because you love her. Lucas went still. You want her because she's mine. His eyes hardened. What's the difference? I laughed. There it is. I pushed his hand away. You finally said it. Lucas stared after me. And that was when I knew I'd won. Because Lucas couldn't resist anything he couldn't have. That afternoon, Isabella came to my dorm. She walked in, dropped her bag on the chair, and stared at me. Why did you tell Lucas I hated him? I blinked. I didn't. Then why did he say you did? I smiled. Because he's lying. She studied my face. Then she sighed. Your brother is unbelievable. I stepped closer. What happened last night? Nothing. You met him. I did. What? Because he asked me to. I waited. She looked annoyed. I wanted to tell him to stop interfering with us. I almost laughed. Did you? Yes. Then why did you stay talking to him? Her expression changed. Because he wouldn't stop. I nodded slowly. Okay. She stared at me. That's it. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Get angry. I smiled. I trust you. For a moment, she looked almost guilty. Then she hugged me. I rested my chin against her shoulder. Over her head, I stared at the phone sitting on the table. It buzzed. A message from Lucas. You were right. She's not interested in me. I almost smiled. Another message arrived. But I'll change that. I deleted it. Lucas had always been like this. If someone rejected him, he didn't walk away. He took it personally. When we were 12, he stole my first trophy because I won an academic competition. When we were 16, he ruined my chances with the girl I liked. When we entered college, he took Sophia. He didn't want those things. He wanted me to lose them. And now he decided Isabella was next. What Lucas didn't know was that I'd been waiting for him to become obsessed. Because there was one thing I'd never told my brother. I hadn't chosen Isabella because she was easy to love. I chose her because Lucas couldn't resist her. And I needed Lucas to make one mistake. A big one. 3 days later, he did. Sophia came looking for me. She found me outside the library and immediately slapped a folder against my chest. Your brother is disgusting. I raised an eyebrow. Good morning to you too. She glared. Lucas contacted me. Why? He wanted to know whether you were serious about Isabella. I laughed. Of course he did. Sophia lowered her voice. He also asked me something else. What? She looked straight into my eyes. He asked whether you'd ever told Isabella about us. My smile vanished. Because there was only one reason Lucas would ask that. He was digging. He wanted to find something he could use against me. Sophia crossed her arms. Should I tell him? No. What? I looked toward the cafeteria. Lucas was standing inside, laughing with his friends. Watching me. I smiled. Let him keep digging. Sophia frowned. Ethan, what are you planning? Nothing. She didn't believe me. Neither did I. That evening, Lucas cornered Isabella outside the dorm. I watched from the second floor window. He said something. She shook her head. He stepped closer. She moved away. He blocked her path. My hands tightened around the window frame. Then Isabella looked up, straight at me, and smiled. Lucas followed her gaze. Our eyes met. His face changed. For the first time, he looked nervous. I lifted my phone. A message appeared. Isabella, he's taking the bait. I stared at the screen. Then another message came. Isabella, how much longer do we have to pretend? I smiled. Me. Until he destroys himself. Down below, Lucas was still staring at me. He had no idea that every conversation, every flirtation, every meeting had been recorded. He thought he was stealing my girlfriend. He thought he was finally beating his little brother. But the truth was much uglier. Isabella had never fallen for Lucas. She had been helping me lure him in. And now Lucas had walked so far into the trap that there was no way back. All I needed was one final push. So I went downstairs. I walked straight toward my brother and smiled. Lucas. He turned. What? I slipped an arm around Isabella's waist. Congratulations. He frowned. For what? I looked him dead in the eyes. You finally took something from me. His face lit up until I finished my sentence. Now let's see what it costs you. Lucas stared at me. What does that mean? I smiled. You'll find out. I took Isabella's hand and walked past him. For the next 2 days, I deliberately acted normal. I took Isabella to class. We ate lunch together. I even invited Lucas to join us. Every time he saw us together, I could see the frustration building behind his smile. He wanted her, but more than that, he wanted to prove he could take her. On Friday night, Lucas finally made his move. He called me. Ethan, I'm having people over tonight. Bring Isabella. I laughed. Why? Because she's my brother's girlfriend. I want to get to know her. Sure. There was a pause. You don't sound worried. Should I be? He chuckled. No. You trust her, right? Completely. I hung up. Then I looked at Isabella. She was sitting across from me, reading through her phone. He's doing it tonight. She nodded. I know. Are you ready? She looked up. Ethan, I've been waiting for this. That night, Lucas's apartment was packed. Music played loudly while people crowded around the kitchen. Lucas had invited almost everyone we knew, including Sophia. That was the part one hadn't expected. She walked over to me. Why am I here? Because Lucas wants an audience. For what? I glanced across the room. Lucas was talking to Isabella. That. Sophia followed my gaze. Her expression darkened. He really hasn't changed. No. She looked at me. What are you planning? I smiled. Let him show everyone who he really is. Lucas eventually approached us. Ethan, can I borrow Isabella? I raised an eyebrow. For what? I want to show her something. Isabella looked at me. I nodded. Go. Lucas led her toward the balcony. I waited. 1 minute. 2. Then my phone buzzed. Isabella. He's confessing. I stood. Sophia caught my arm. What happened? He's finally saying what he wants. I walked toward the balcony. The door was slightly open. Lucas's voice came through. You don't belong with Ethan. Isabella said nothing. He doesn't understand you. Still nothing. I do. Lucas stepped closer. You know there's something between us. Isabella finally spoke. No, Lucas. There isn't. He laughed. You're still pretending. I'm not pretending. You came here with him because you wanted me to notice you. I opened the door. Lucas turned. I looked at him. Keep going. His face drained. What? You heard me. I stepped inside. Tell everyone. Behind me, Sophia walked in. Then several other guests followed. Lucas looked around. He realized too late that the balcony door hadn't been closed. People had heard him. His expression changed. Ethan, you misunderstood. No. I shook my head. Understood perfectly. He pointed at Isabella. She was playing along. Isabella folded her arms. Was I? Lucas froze. She pulled out her phone. I recorded everything. His face went pale. She pressed play. His own voice filled the balcony. You don't belong with Ethan. Then, I do. The room went quiet. Lucas stared at her. You recorded me? Yes. What? She smiled. Because Ethan asked me to. Lucas slowly turned toward me. I didn't smile this time. I simply looked at him. You want to take my girlfriend? I stepped closer. You wanted to humiliate me. Another step. You wanted everyone to think you could steal anything I had. Lucas's jaw clenched. And now? I held up my phone. I have every message you've sent her. His eyes widened. Delete them. No, Ethan. You spent your whole life taking things from me. I laughed quietly. Tonight, I'm taking something from you. What? Your reputation. I turned toward everyone. Then I handed Sophia my phone. She connected it to the television in the living room. The first message appeared. Lucas, your brother doesn't deserve you. Then another. Lucas, you be happier with me. Then another. Lucas, don't tell Ethan we're talking. The room erupted. People started whispering. Lucas rushed toward the television. Turn that off. Sophia stepped in front of him. No. He stared at her. You too. She smiled. You dumped me because you wanted to prove you could take Ethan's girlfriend. Lucas went silent. Sophia continued. You never loved me either. Lucas's face twisted. You don't know anything. I know enough. Then Isabella walked forward. You want the truth? Lucas looked at her. I never wanted you. His expression cracked. I was never falling for you. She stepped closer. I was watching you destroy yourself. Lucas looked at me. His breathing became heavier. You planned this. Yes. You used her. No. I looked at Isabella. She helped me. She took my hand. Lucas stared at our joined hands. Then he laughed. A bitter, ugly laugh. You think you've won? I smiled. No. I leaned closer. I know I have. Lucas suddenly grabbed my collar. Before he could do anything, several people pulled him away. I straightened my shirt. He struggled against them. This isn't over. I looked at my brother. For once, you're right. I walked toward him. You haven't lost everything yet. His eyes narrowed. I smiled. But tomorrow, you're going to lose the one thing you protected more carefully than anything else. His confidence disappeared. What? I whispered. Mom and Dad are going to find out why you really transferred the family money. Lucas went completely still. That was the first time I'd ever seen fear on his face. And I realized something. Stealing my girlfriends had never been Lucas's biggest betrayal. It was just the one he'd wanted me to notice. Lucas went pale. The next morning, our parents called him home. I went too. Dad placed a stack of bank statements on the table. Explain this. Lucas stared at them. He'd been secretly transferring money from the family account for years, paying debts, luxury bills, and covering the damage he'd caused while pretending everything was fine. Mom looked heartbroken. Lucas immediately pointed at me. Ethan knew. I laughed. Did I? He froze. I pulled out my phone. I have the messages where you admitted everything. Dad read them. His expression hardened. You're done. Lucas stood abruptly. You can't do this to me. Dad didn't even look up. I should have done it years ago. Lucas lost access to the family accounts that day. His friends disappeared almost immediately. The girls he'd bragged about dating wanted nothing to do with him. Sophia publicly confirmed that their relationship had been fake from his side. And Isabella? She stayed with me. A week later, Lucas found me outside campus. He looked exhausted. You ruined my life. I shook my head. No, you did. You planned everything. Yes. He stared at me bitterly. What? I smiled. Because I finally realized something. What? You weren't stealing my girlfriends because you love them. I stepped closer. You were stealing them because you hated seeing me happy. Lucas said nothing. So I gave you exactly what you wanted. I smiled. You took Isabella. His face fell. But you never got her. I walked away. Isabella was waiting by the gate. She slipped her hand into mine. Ready. I looked back once. Lucas was standing alone. For the first time in our lives, there was nothing left for him to take. I squeezed Isabella's hand. Yeah. And we walked away together. Lucas didn't disappear after that. That would have been too easy. Instead, he decided to destroy me on his way down. 3 days later, a video appeared in our college group chat. It showed me talking to Isabella. The clip was edited to make it look like I'd been using her from the beginning. The caption read, Ethan's girlfriend was just another pawn. He planned everything to humiliate his own brother. Within an hour, everyone had seen it. People started whispering when I walked through campus. Isabella found me outside the library. Don't say anything, I told her. She looked furious. I know who posted it. Lucas. I nodded. He wants me to react. Instead, I walked into the student center. Lucas was sitting with his friends. He smiled when he saw me. Rough morning. I sat beside him. Actually, no. His smile faded. I placed my phone on the table. You edited the video badly. His face changed. What? You cut out the part where Isabella and I explained the entire plan. He stared at me. I pressed play. The original recording began. My voice filled the room. If Lucas believes he's stealing you, he'll eventually confess everything. Then Isabella's voice. And once he does, we let him talk. The entire table went silent. Lucas looked around. Everyone had heard it. Then I played another recording. Lucas's own voice came through. I don't care about Isabella. I just want Ethan to lose another girl. His friends stared at him. One of them slowly pushed his chair away. Lucas grabbed my phone. I pulled it back. There's more. His face went white. The next recording was from 5 years earlier. Lucas had been talking to Sophia. I only dated you because Ethan wanted you. Sophia, standing behind us, spoke quietly. That one was recorded the night he broke up with me. Lucas turned. You. She raised her phone. I kept everything. Then came the final blow. I opened the family account records. Remember that money you said I stole? Lucas stared. I smiled. You transferred it into an account under your friend's name. His expression collapsed. I didn't. Your friend confessed. I turned my phone around. A written statement filled the screen. He told me to hold the money because Dad would cut him off if he knew. Lucas suddenly stood. You're all against me. Nobody answered. He looked around the room. His friends. Sophia. Isabella. Even people he'd known for years. Nobody moved toward him. That's when Lucas understood. He hadn't been betrayed. He'd simply run out of people willing to protect him. But I wasn't finished. I stood. You know what's funny? Lucas glared at me. You spent 5 years trying to prove you could take everything from me. I walked closer. 5 years ago, you took Sophia. He swallowed. You thought that meant you'd beaten me. I continued. Then you tried Isabella. He looked toward her. She didn't even acknowledge him. And you still lost. I lowered my voice. But the worst thing you took wasn't a girlfriend. Lucas frowned. You took our parents' trust. I placed the bank statements on the table. You took their money. Another sheet. You lied about it. Another. You blamed me. Then I smiled. And now they're selling the house. Lucas froze. What? Dad's voice came from behind him. We're selling it. Lucas turned. Dad looked devastated rather than angry. Your mother and I are leaving. Lucas shook his head. No. We're done covering for you. No. For the first time, Lucas looked genuinely terrified. He rushed toward Dad. I can fix this. Dad stepped back. You've been saying that since you were 12. That sentence destroyed him. Lucas stood there trembling. All those years of stealing my toys, sabotaging my relationships, taking credit for my achievements, suddenly they weren't funny anymore. They were evidence of exactly who he'd become. He looked at me. You wanted this. I shook my head. No. I took Isabella's hand. I wanted you to stop. Lucas laughed bitterly. And when I didn't, I looked him straight in the eyes. I stopped protecting you. That night, Lucas tried to leave town, but his car wouldn't start. He called 3 people. Nobody answered. He called his friends. They blocked him. He called Sophia. She hung up. He called Isabella. She never picked up. Finally, at 2:13 a.m., my phone rang. Lucas. I answered. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he whispered, Ethan. What? I don't have anywhere to go. I closed my eyes. A part of me remembered the little boy who used to crawl in my bed during thunderstorms. The brother I'd once defended against everyone. Then I remembered the photographs. The lies. The stolen money. The way he'd smile while trying to destroy everything I loved. You should have thought about that before you decided ruining me was entertainment. I hung up. The next morning, I found out Lucas had withdrawn from college. He sold his car. His apartment was empty. The family business removed his name from every document. Sophia never spoke to him again. And Isabella? She wasn't my fake girlfriend anymore. 1 month later, she stood beside me at graduation. As we walked across the stage, she squeezed my hand. You know, she whispered, your brother really was awful. I laughed. That's putting it mildly. She smiled. Then she kissed me in front of everyone. For once, Lucas wasn't there to steal the moment. He couldn't, because he'd spent his entire life believing that taking something from me made him superior. In the end, he discovered the truth too late. He hadn't been competing with me. He'd been destroying himself. And I didn't have to ruin Lucas. I just stopped saving him from the consequences.